based on the fact there will be a crowd, and our journalists, of course, as well. Yeah, no. Look, the important thing is that we, approach the game in the right way, which we did when we played here against Luxembourg. Our opportunity to play here hasn't been, we haven't had that many games since, Denmark last November. Other than that, we've had Luxembourg here at home, and so the younger, as we talk about younger players, they've had a lot of exposure having to play away from home. So it comes with a different approach and a different mentality, I think, when you play at home. But I know that the lads are all looking forward to the game. Worked well today. As I said, we took a lot of positives out of the game from Saturday night. As a coach, you have to look beyond the result. You have to look at how the team played, in and out of possession. And there was a lot of things that we were pleased about, because there was a lot of stuff. This is the longest week we've had in terms of working, and a lot of the stuff that we worked very hard on in Manchester through the week, we saw obviously in the game on Saturday evening.
Can you tell us if Pearce will start in goal again?
Well, I'm not going to name the team. It would be unfair to the other goalkeepers to do that at this minute in time.
You talk about the confidence you can take out of Saturday. Do you have to say anything to the players who might be disappointed that they're sort of playing well but not getting rewards?
In terms of the team that starts, sorry, yeah.
Well, just in terms of when you look back at Saturday, you obviously had a good performance, but you've not got the rewards for it.
Well, look, I think, football brings you that all the time. They play every week, and sometimes you play well and you don't get what you're rewarded. I think internationally, yeah, it's probably enhanced a little bit as well. Like any team that's where we are at this minute in time, we want good results. Good results keeps everyone happy. It builds confidence, and it creates a positive narrative around the team. But the positive for me, we had 6 players that were 21 and under in the team that started on Saturday night. 6 of them could have played for Tommy Wright. So I think that the progression of those players in particular, and the responsibility that they're taking. Like, normally when you bring a young player into the team, he's aided and supported by more experienced players. I know that personally from my own experiences coming in as a young player. We're not in that position to do that at this minute in time, so we're putting a lot of young players in at the one time, and I think, to be fair, they're handling it extremely well.
And I won't make the same mistake I did on Friday. Who's the captain tomorrow?
No, Connor will be the captain tomorrow. Yeah.
Thank you. So, Connor, you spoke about the honour it was to captain the side on Saturday. How much are you looking forward to doing it here in front of the crowd?
Yeah, I think it'll probably be a bit more special doing it at home, obviously with all the crowd there as well. So, but obviously on Saturday night it was a surreal experience, obviously walking out with the armband on, but I'm really looking forward to tomorrow night to do it again.
How did you sort of handle the captaincy? Did was there a big rousing speech before going out there, or was it just more quiet and by example kind of thing?
Yeah, probably more quiet and by example. I didn't really want to change anything I've done to sort of get me to this point, so I just done a lot of the same stuff and try to speak as much as I can on the pitch and just try to help the boys in whatever way I can. And yeah, as I said, I don't think I'd try to change too much, just keep it pretty similar.
When you talk about change, do you feel like this experience will benefit you not only in Northern Ireland, but next week you'll go back to Liverpool having not only played international football but captained an international side?
Yeah, I think it can only help me. Obviously it's something new for me, captaining a first team, so yeah, it can only help me, and it's a good experience for me.
Thanks very much.
Brilliant, thank you. Julian.
Michael, you see, if you look at the group overall, has it sort of panned out the way that you expected by now?
Yeah, I think, look, I can't really comment on how the other teams have approached the games. It's obviously a low-scoring group. The games are tight, as we envisaged they would be. We play a team tomorrow night that, have scored 1 goal, which was an error by ourselves in the game. So, yeah, I think so. There's very little, we're in that sort of third tier at the moment of European football, and the other teams will have aspirations to move up as well. So that comes with the territory in terms of where we are at this minute in time. I didn't think it would be a group where we would win 6 games out of 6 and it would be straightforward like that. So, yeah, look, I think that the important thing is that, a result tomorrow night puts us in a good position for the final 2 games of the group, and that's what we have to aim to get.
Sure. Jonathan.
Michael, you mentioned just the number of under-21
No, they listen. Start off with, yeah. For how long? We'll see. Yeah. But I think every manager likes bringing younger players into their group, and then I think they, invigorate any group of players. This group have, as I've said many times, they're not. They're not. It's not like they've got 100 league games under their belt or anything like that there, but they have quite a bit of international experience. I think, if you take Shea, I think Shea's got 22 caps. He's 20 years of age. We were talking about it last night, and I think if you take Stephen, Devo made his debut at 20. So they've got a lot of miles on the belt, or on the clock rather, in terms of what they've played, and they've had to learn in that experience, but without having the benefit of maybe going back and playing for their clubs at times as well. And Connor's a good example. Connor's will play 4 full internationals this year, and he's had 190 minutes for his club. So that's the difference because of the level of the club and the difficulty of playing first team football at that level. So I think that from a manager's point of view, the great thing about them is they come desperate to play. That's the most important thing. They really want to play. They really want to play both games, and they want to do. They see it as a real opportunity, which it always is. I think in terms of how the group works is brilliant. They're very good in terms of, when you have meetings, you have analysis. They're very attentive. They want, I get a real feeling. Sometimes you can be a little bit selfish, or players are naturally all a little bit selfish, but I think this group wants to improve together, and a lot of the work we've had this week, I think we are showing good signs of that.
And you've worked with some of Northern Ireland's most experienced ever players. In your mind, what's the one most important thing of turning a young player coming into the international scene into one of those vastly experienced players?
Well, I think, it's a combination of two things. It's a combination of where their club career goes as well. I'm not really in control of that. The influence we can have on it is give them exposure at international level, which hopefully, maybe helps at their club situation when they go back, or how their manager looks at them in different situations. It maybe brings them the attention of other clubs as well, and puts them in the shop window. I think we have to be conscious of trying to support the players in every way we can, which we try to do. But I think that I think there's a lot of players in this group that will be in this group for a long period of time. Where their careers go, will they have careers like Stephen Davis have had, or Johnny Evans has had, or Aaron Hughes has had? Who knows? You know what I mean? So, but I think that they have certainly got the potential to have long and established international careers, and hopefully successful ones as well.
And Connor, I'm sure it was extreme to miss the chance to go top of the group, but just the way the fixture had fallen, destiny's still in your own hands. 3 wins in the past 3 games, and you will top the group. Is that something that you take encouragement from?
Yeah, well, that's definitely the aim for the next 3, to win all 3 and top the group. That was our aim coming into the Nations League, and obviously the first 3 games probably haven't went as well as we wanted to with the results, but I think the performances are just getting better and better and better, and hopefully the results will follow from that.
And just lastly for me, you mentioned the performance. It's probably a glass half full and glass half empty question, but in your mind, is it better to create those chances and not take them than play an early straw where you weren't creating those chances?
Yeah, definitely. I think I'd rather us missing the chances than not getting any chances at all. And obviously the goals will come. We've got good strikers, and they're good at finishing. We see it every day in training, so the goals will come, and it'll just be a matter of time before we start scoring 2-3 goals in a game.
Jonathan Kenny, then Gareth.
Connor, can I just ask, obviously at the club level, the manager seems to be very much wanting a settled side, so how beneficial is it for you to get away with Northern Ireland and get full games under your belt?
Yeah, well, I think everyone knows how much I love coming away and playing with the boys, and I just really enjoy it. And obviously, as you say, it's a good chance for me to get 90 minutes under my belt, because it's been sort of limited at my club level. So now I really love coming away and just getting games.
Has Slot spoken to you about the situation there, or what you need to do to get into the team, or is it?
Yeah, just about improving sort of everywhere. Obviously, I'm still young. I'm not a complete player, so still have to get better at defending, still have to get better going forward, and I'm just trying to learn every day of obviously people like Trent and Andy Robertson, who they're obviously world-class players, and try to take bits of their game and put it into mine.
Michael, just on the sort of schedule, as it were, how beneficial is it to be
Yeah, I think in this competition you probably have to focus on yourself a lot, really, and we're focused on ourselves because we're trying to develop and build a team. So, but we obviously take the opposition into consideration. In Bulgaria, for example, I think there's 4 players missing from the lineup that played against us in last month, so they'll have a different feel, a different freshness about them. So we'll have to, there's a lot of work done on the opposition prior coming into camp, but then it changes obviously during the camp as well. So yeah, look, I don't think, as I've said many times, there's not a lot of time between games to do anything radical in terms of how you're going to play. You maybe change personnel in certain situations. So I think that we've learned over the years, or certainly I've learned over the years, that it's important to try and be consistent, because if you do freshen the team up in game 2, it's hard to change it personnel wise and tactically. You don't have enough time. We've had 1 training session today, so the important thing is that the people in the group are all on the same page and understand what we're asking them. And we will freshen the team up tomorrow night, because it will need that, given the intensity of the game, the travel and everything. And this competition for us is about learning about the players, and we'll never learn about them unless we put them on the pitch. We have to put them on the pitch to learn more about them, help them, and obviously develop. As we talk about developing the team, we have to develop a squad. You need players that are going to come in and at the right times, and obviously give, the team doesn't weaken as a result of that.
Might be the only home game you've left in it, because that's up in the air. So how are you sort of approaching it like that, where this is the only one that's guaranteed, and you've got to make the most of that?
Well,
Experience?
I think we have to look at it as a factor, but with 3 games at home, we won't play again until March. The players have had a nice experience here earlier in September, where they played at home and won the game. So, any successful team will have good home form. So we have to develop that, and this gives us a chance to develop it. We're not in control of the situation in November, and we'll just address that when it comes.
Michael, how much stock do you put in the away game against Bulgaria? Because you touched on they're going to have probably a reasonably changed lineup. You obviously have the issues with the pitch, and then the goal was a mistake, which you can't legislate for. I mean, do you put much of the stock in what will happen tomorrow night?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we certainly respect the Bulgarians. It was a difficult game in Plovdiv. Conditions were difficult, but we just have to think about how they played the game, like how we can stop them. They were quite direct in how they played, but it was effective. But equally, they've got some speed, particularly on the right-hand side, that we have to be aware of, and they've got some good footballers in the middle of the pitch. So I think, when you play teams as quickly as we have, the game, I don't think will be too dissimilar. I would anticipate that we'll have more of the game in the early part of the game than what we did in Bulgaria. And the onus is on us as the home side to, take the initiative in the game. I can't really control what their approach may be, but, having watched them over a consistent number of games, we know that it'll be a tough game for us, but a game that we're capable of winning.
As we mentioned earlier, obviously that winning the group is still in our own hands. How important will it be for this group, this young group of players, to go and win a Nations League group?
Well, look, the competition is what it is. It lifts us to the next tier of international football, where you play, more difficult games. But I think that the most important thing is, a combination. Of course, we want to win the games. I don't think it'll be a disaster if we don't. If I'm honest, I think that we'll come through this campaign and we'll have much more experience in our group, which is important. And equally, I think we found a way and a system of playing that we believe in. These games have tested that, because they're competitive games, and they're difficult situations where you play away from home. So, or we've had to play away from home as well. So I think that the most important thing is that at the end of the tournament in November, do we feel that we're in a better position than when we started it? And if that means that we win the, of course, that's the added bonus. But our focus, as I said initially, is not, we could win games and we could feel that we're not any further forward as a team. But I think it's about how we create our style of play and what we are as a team without the ball. I think we are a very good team, and have been a very good team without the ball in the last 12 months. You know, if you look at the Spain game aside, which was a difficult fixture at any time, you know, we don't concede many goals, and that's the first, like, Northern Ireland have never been a high scoring team. So let's be honest, that's something that is in our history. So we have to make sure, and all good Northern Ireland teams are difficult to beat, and I think we're developing that as throughout this competition as well, and we've developed that over the last 12 months.
Conor, you touched on earlier on about coming here, enjoying playing for Northern Ireland and getting more game time, which is important for any player, particularly a young player. Obviously, where you're playing for Northern Ireland, you're given a bit more freedom, and you're playing a bit further forward. Is that something you enjoy as well, and you do get that bit of freedom to show what you can do in an attacking sense?
Yeah, I do really enjoy it. Obviously, whenever I was on loan at Bolton, I sort of played in a similar position, and yeah, it just gives me freedom to try and create chances and try help the team the best I can. And obviously, I know it gives me freedom, but I still have to do my defensive work as well and make sure we do keep clean sheets, because that's going to be our best way of winning games if we can keep clean sheets. So, but no, I really enjoy it, and it's been really good.
Is it somewhere you'd like to, in your club career, you'd like to be playing further up the pitch and making it have more of an influence in an attacking perspective?
Well, I think whenever you play for a club like Liverpool, you're, as a right back, you're basically playing like a right winger anyway. So, so no, I'm happy where I play for the club. Obviously, I get plenty of chances to get forward and get assists and goals and things like that. So, so no, I'm happy playing right back.
Like, obviously, a lot was said about the attacking aspects on Saturday night, but I thought defensively it was very strong again. How you were pleased with the overall defensive performances in recent weeks or recent months?
Yes, look, we've had a good, clean sheets, in Scotland, Andorra, we'd expect to keep a clean sheet. We had a clean sheet against Luxembourg, so a clean sheet against Belarus. So, you develop confidence in your system, and you develop confidence in your the back three as we've played with, the goalkeeper as well. I thought the goalkeeper gave us a lot of assurance as well. His choice of pass was excellent. We know that that's a big strong point in Pearce's game, and it does give you that ability to restart the game. I think that's important, the goalkeeper relieving pressure off the teams, because the game is very much now about how teams are set up to press, and how they're going to stop you and press you in your own half in a lot of games. So in that situation, the goalkeeper has a big role to play. So yeah, I think even Trey coming in and playing as a right side at centre back, that combination between Trey and Conor on the right hand side looks very strong. If you look at it, we still but we have Ballard out, for example, as well. So yeah, I think the defence is growing all the time. We've lost big players. You lose Evans, you lose Cathcart. They're not easy players to replace. But I think as a group and as a unit, we're compensating with that loss of quality and that loss of experience. And I suppose the challenge is for those players to get to that level at club and international level.
You mentioned Pierce there. How much of a boost in terms of his own development will be getting that start tomorrow night? Because obviously young goalkeepers don't obviously get as many opportunities because they've been saying if they'll do something else.
It's the hardest thing. Like goalkeepers, it's the worst. If you're not being chosen as a goalkeeper, it's the most frustrating thing, and you have to be patient. And he has been that. He's played first team football, obviously in the cup for Sheffield Wednesday, so they have trusted him in important games. And I just felt this competition and the nature of that game was the right time to give him the opportunity. And I think, certainly we were delighted with the performance he gave. He didn't have to make a huge amount of saves, but he dealt with everything he had too well. But, I thought his composure and his assurance for a young goalkeeper was evident throughout the game. And hopefully, that people will see him in that situation and say, well, look, they feel he's ready to play. I can't control what Sheffield Wednesday do. They've brought a young goalkeeper in from Brighton who's very good as well. So, but all I do know is that he's ready to play. I feel that he's ready to play first team football at club level, obviously in the period that we've worked with him at international level.
Conor, you obviously completed some situations getting your debut at a young age. Did you have any special words for Pierce tomorrow night, or was it just maybe an arm around the shoulder?
Yeah, just arm round and just tell him to play his normal game. Obviously, I think that's the best thing you can do whenever you're young, and obviously have no fear as well. Obviously, if he makes mistakes, just try again. Obviously, of course. So, but I thought Pierce was brilliant the other night and gave us a lot of confidence with him behind us and how good he is on the ball. I think he could probably play centre mid for us, to be honest. But no, he's brilliant. So
And you mentioned about being a special night tomorrow night. You have a lot of family and friends coming up to enjoy the occasion with you.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I'll have my mum and my sister's going to come up, so very looking forward to seeing them again. I haven't seen them in a while, so I'm sure hopefully they'll enjoy it and hopefully we can get the win for them.
Yes, Stevie. Dave.
Just on that, Conor, I was just thinking there, while asking questions, you've had a monster 2020 form thing in that Chelsea game, Carabao Cup, first Northern Ireland goals, top goal scorer this year. Now, captaincy, can you ever take a minute to just reflect and how far you've progressed, really? You're always focused on what's next.
I always try to focus on what's next. I don't really like sitting and reflecting and sitting still. I just want to keep going and keep progressing and just keep getting better. So I just try to keep going and keep working hard every day, make sure I do the same things, and hopefully I'll just keep going.
I think you spoke there about how hopefully it helped Clement Thorne, but what do you feel it's maybe helped, as you see, rather than just not being involved during the national break, being able to come away, play both games, be like a captain, how do you feel it's helped your game for the last sort of 8-9 months, really?
I think it just improves me. Obviously international football is different to club football. Obviously it's difficult, especially when you go away from home and stuff like that. We have to learn how to obviously keep clean sheets and win games when we go away from home. So so it is different, but I really enjoy the challenge every time I do come away, and obviously I realise being able to play 2 games for my country and just really enjoy it.
Then just one for Michael, when we spoke to Isaac Preston on that, he used the word revenge when he talked about the Bulgaria game, just because it felt so bad the way that they lost out there. Not that they were wrong, but it just to see the goal like that. Is that something you want to use to fire them up, or you need to be careful not to go down that road because you can maybe get a wee bit distracted?
I think that's a young player maybe using a word that possibly wasn't the right word in the context, you know what I mean? And it's maybe been jumped on a little bit. So yeah, we're not. We have no issue with the Bulgarians. It was a tough game, you know. We lost the game because we gave away a poor goal. Simple as that. We rode our luck a little bit. We had a free kick that came off the outside of the post, and Bailey makes a good save off the corner. But other than that, we didn't really give them very many opportunities. But equally, we didn't look to hurt them enough either. So, no, we're not bothered about that. The motivation for us is to win the game and obviously put ourselves in a stronger position in the group.
Cheers, Dave. David.
Michael, it looks to me as if Northern Ireland and Bulgaria are the 2 best teams in this group. So would you class this as the defining match of the group tomorrow night?
Well, I don't know. I think Belarus would probably turn around and say they're unbeaten and have 5 points as well. So I wouldn't say necessarily that's an opinion. I just think, look, can we win at home over the if we have 3 games at home or we have 2 games at home, that we take maximum points at home, and this gives us an opportunity. There's always a little, you want to try and make up for the points you've lost, and we lost points in Bulgaria. So I think that probably, I can't comment on whether we're the best 2 teams in the group or not. I actually think that probably, I've watched Luxembourg's game in Bulgaria, and Luxembourg play very well, and probably are a little bit disappointed they didn't take 3 points in the game, although they probably were a little bit like us. They maybe didn't create as much as possible. So yeah, look, I think the most important thing is to focus on just the game in itself and try and win it.
You're approaching 2 years now on the second time as manager, and it was interesting. You're not a man for sound bites. You never have been. You tend to have a thought process behind everything you say, and you said that this team is going in the right direction. What have you seen in the last 2 years, sort of, that we haven't seen, in training camps, behind the scenes, that you think this team's on the way up?
Well, this team hasn't really been developed over 2 years because there was young players in and around what was an experienced group of players, or what we hoped would be an experienced group of players. That so if you go back to the January 2023, I think you're looking at, I was in a situation coming into a game in March where, I hoped Davis would be available. I hoped Dallas would be available. Corey Evans would be available. Johnny, Cathcart, Shane Ferguson, all of those players who had been in that situation, and we would have been dropping in your Connor Bradleys, your Shea Charleses, these types of players that we have, Isaac Price, Trey Hume, all of that type of situation. So the biggest thing is that these players have come in and they've had to deal with a lot of responsibility. So they've had to come in and be important players in the team. So Connor's a really important player for us, but he's a young player at his club. So there's a different type of responsibility that they have when they come here, and that's where I've seen the progression, and that that is a challenge that they've embraced. We look at how we play as a team. We look at it analytically, and you might not see that in terms of how the team wants to play or try to play. We look at how we are without the ball. You know, I think from outside, people measure a team and obviously go, well, they've won 5 games out of 6. They're going in the right direction. But there's always things you can take, and there's consistency in how we work. There's consistency in terms of how the players understand we work. But the most important thing is that the players are coming in here, and we're giving them a huge amount of responsibility, and they're not frightened by that. They're you know, embracing that challenge, and that's a big positive for me.
With your experience and knowledge, then, do you think the World Cup 2026 campaign, the team can be competitive, or do you think they'll hit their peak in 2028?
Well, look, you always want, like anything, you know what I mean? You always want to get to the end goal as quickly as you can. I can't really say, because I don't know what the draw will provide for us in the World Cup 2026 as well. So there's a lot of factors that still have to come out in the next sort of 6 to 12 months. But if you were saying to me, would we go into a group and we would be, you know, we're more glass half full, so we are in terms of our approach to it. And I think that whether it'll come too soon, you know, as I said, you know, in 2 years' time, Connor will be 23, still a young international player, but he may have played 40, 45 times by that time for his country. So those are situations that the speed of the development of the team is a little bit outside of, you know, our control a little bit. It's where the players will be in 2 years' time with their clubs. Is that going to help them come in and be in a strong position in terms of playing international football? But I'm optimistic about where we'll be at that point in time. So that's the only thing I can really say, is that, you know, I still need to add to this squad of players. We still have positions in this group of players that we are weak because we don't have strong options outside the first choice player, or what we see as the first choice player. We have other positions where we have real competition, where we could pick 3 players in that position. You know, if we wanted to play with a back 4, we could play Connor, Trey, Hume, Brodie Spencer, all could play right back for us in that situation. We don't have those options in every position at this minute in time, and we have to try and build a bit of depth into the squad, because when you come into a World Cup qualifying campaign over a 9-month period, you're not going to be able to pick the same team in every game. So the key is to try and, you know, develop the squad further and give us a bit more depth. And, you know, unfortunately, some of the young lads have they've missed out on opportunities. Ross is a good example. He's missed a few camps out of injury, and he's a player that we would hope come through and push in a wider area as well. We've had some players up like Dale Taylor and Aaron Donnelly, who are with the 21s, Michael Forbes. So we have to see where that group develops a little bit as well. But they will come into the squad as the younger players, you know, because the responsibility is already with these boys.
Okay, thank you. Connor, congrats on the captaincy. Well deserved. You've now been an international for 3 years. What have you learned about international football in that time that can help you and the team go forward?
That's very difficult. Obviously, there's a lot of tough teams out there, and it's hard to beat teams. And you obviously always got to be ready for the game, and it's always going to be a difficult challenge. And I just obviously really enjoy the challenges as well. Like, I know it's obviously going to be always difficult, but I do really enjoy coming away and playing different types of teams and different opponents, and learning how, if they're low block, how do we get past that, or if they're pressing us high, how can we play through that? So I always just really enjoy the challenge.
Do you like the tactical side of the game?
I do enjoy it, yeah. I do enjoy learning how different ways to play, different shapes to play, and stuff like that. And I do take real interest into it. And obviously, I've learned a lot off Michael as well, and different ways to try and help me play my game.
Just expand that, if you don't mind. What have you learned from Michael then?
Just different ways to play the right wing back position, and also obviously playing if I played right wing or in the 10. But for the right wing back, obviously, sometimes what runner to pick. So if the striker comes to feet, maybe play him, or else play the wide 10, run them behind, things like that. So I've learnt a lot, and obviously in the 10 position as well, he's sort of learnt me how to play a new position. So it's been really good, and I've really enjoyed it.
captaincy role models. Do you have any? Like, you've played for quite a few internationally and at club level.
What, any role models?
Yeah, from a captain's perspective.
Obviously, well, the captain of the club, Virgil, he's quite a role model. The way he just conducts himself every day and training every day. He's always one of the best players in training every day, and that's someone sort of I aspire to be. How he conducts himself every day and how he leads by example. So yeah, he'd probably be one of the main role models for me.
Windsor Park tomorrow. Have you ever been captain there before? You know, even when you were a kid and that?
No.
So
never has been first
when
time.
you're leading the team out in front of maybe 18,000 people, you know, you thought about how you're going to feel, you know, thought about if you're going to say anything before the match or anything?
No, I haven't thought about it, to be honest. I've just been thinking about how we're going to beat Bulgaria tomorrow. So, but no, I know it's obviously going to be a special occasion for me, but hopefully we can get the win.
Brilliant. So, Michael, last couple from you.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. Michael, in terms of mentality, you're saying you're not putting all your eggs in one basket with winning this thing. You're trying to grow the squad as a whole. It's a scenario question. If you've 20 minutes to go in a game, you think we could push on and win it. Is there a part of your brain also thinking I want to protect the players, don't want to change too much, and maybe expose them to a defeat?
Not really at home, to be honest. I'm more of a manager that always tries to win. I would always try. Look, it depends on the opponent. If we're playing Germany, I might have a slightly different approach, but you know, that's the game. So, you know, if I get a point tomorrow night, you guys will slate me. If I get a point against Germany, I'll be brilliant. You know, so I'll be a genius. So it's all relative to the level of the opponent, and that's so. But I think that the important thing at home is to show intent, and that's not just. I think that's throughout the game. In relation to like how you approach the game, like we've been at our best here when we've started the game with intensity. So if you look back at the Luxembourg game, our intent was from the outset, and we've done that against bigger opponents as well, more established nations in the past, and that's something that we have to get into the mentality and psychology of this team. The most, one of the things that this team can do is it can run, and it's got speed, and it's got endurance, and we have to use that in terms of how so we want the game to have intensity. We don't want a slow game, and it's so the onus is on us to create that type of game as well.
And you haven't given us clarification on the goalkeeper yet, but you know what Pierce can offer in terms of compared to a lot of other keepers. He's so good with his feet. Is that something maybe potentially that you would like whoever your number one keeper is to do more of? It allows you to control possession a great deal more than maybe previously.
Well, look, the best teams are built from the back. If you look at the best teams in world football at the moment, the role of the goalkeeper has changed dramatically, and so I think the younger the goalkeeper comes into the squad, the longer he's been doing it. Really, So Pierce has probably been playing like this from a really young age, and he's obviously been at a club in terms of where he started his career, where that's been a necessity. So he's had a really good ground in that side of things with the years he spent at Manchester City, and I think it's a huge part of the game now. We've come away from, and I go watch a lot of league football, and I don't watch a lot of Premier League football. I'm predominantly at League One and Championship games. If you look at our squad, most of our players 50-50 split between League One and the Championship. But I see a lot of teams at that level still trying to play, and a lot of teams with the onus on the goalkeeper to be able to be a key role in that. So I think that it is an important part of any goalkeeper, I think, now, if he's going to progress in his career.
Is that a worrying thing for some defenders? You're going to need to receive it facing your keeper?
Well, no, the key is hopefully the defenders don't do that, and they work harder to get down and receive it facing forward. We've worked a lot on that, so you have to be prepared to take the ball. If you're going to play at a good level as well, you've got to be prepared to take the ball. I watch players, League One, Owen Toll's a good example. I watched him play for Bolton. Like they try to play. Connor was there in League One. They had a real style of play. They played in the back three, and Connor was very attacked. A lot of what we're asking Connor to do here, I saw him do it at Bolton. And what he's been able to do is he's been able to take it up the levels. It's slightly different when he plays at Liverpool and he plays as a right back. But I see Owen play, and I look at Owen and think, you know, you're capable of playing your club football at a higher level in the traits that I see in his game. So I think it's important, you know, and you got to get the balance right as well. But the days of like, you know, let's play it long and get the flick on, those have gone. Like, you know, so we have to adapt to how modern football is played as well.
Brilliant. And Connor, echo sentiments of my colleagues. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tomorrow will be very special for you. I think the July internationals, actually, I would nearly say, were a great example of how you play your game, and that there's a fearlessness, but there's an intensity. I don't know if you know what a friendly is, but you didn't seem to turn it down a notch or two, which is very welcome. In terms of this idea of a captain, you know, leading by example, I know it's something you don't want to overthink, but what does that mean to you? What is being an example on the pitch mean to you?
Well, first of all, just giving my all, working as hard as I can. Whether I make a mistake or someone else makes a mistake, we all get back and we all try to win the ball back for each other. And I think that's one of the most important things, but also trying to be brave on the ball, be creative, try to create chances for my teammates. So just all them sort of things whenever we're in a game, and I just obviously try to play my normal football as well, and just try to bring all that with me into it.
And with it being a youthful squad, we've seen some of the personality and some of the stuff on social media that's been shared. Isaac Price maybe not going to be a game show host just yet, but it's interesting to see that sort of stuff. You seem to be very close with one another. I'm just wondering, you know, how much you relish coming and seeing the guys again.
Yeah, we are very close. Obviously, most of the boys I've sort of grew up with from obviously the club NI days when we were younger. So we're all very close together, and we're obviously all good friends as well, most importantly. So no, I love coming away here. I love seeing the boys and getting a catch up and having a coffee together and stuff like that. So I love it all, and obviously we just want to keep improving on the pitch as well, and make sure we keep in them better performances and getting better results.
That's one from Mark.
Just finally for me, Mike, rightly there's a lot of talk about Pierce, but can I ask you about Shea? Now that he's playing regular football, have you seen a bit of a difference in him? Has he taken it up a notch again?
Yeah, I thought he was terrific in the game, actually. Out of possession is probably the biggest area for Trey to improve, and you only get that through games, really. I think in the games in September, he was probably a little bit undercooked because he hadn't really played. He'd just gone to Sheffield Wednesday. The loan happened late, so he wasn't coming into those international games having maybe played 4 or 5 games at the start of the season. So yeah, I think his performances for Sheffield Wednesday have been good as well. So yeah, like Shea's only going to improve. His attitude to the game is excellent. I think we know what he has in terms of his technical level and his ability to control play, but the physical side of the game, it's a big part of the game in the Championship as well. So I think that the season in the Championship will do him the world of good. But you know, for me, like Shea comes in and plays at international level, and he looks like he's played for a long time at it. It doesn't faze him. He takes the ball. He makes a lot of good choices. But where I was really pleased with him in the game on Saturday was that I thought, you know, he showed a real physicality and how we were without the ball. And that's, for me, if he adds that to his game, you've got, you know, a midfield player that can play, for me, at the highest level of the game.